Seven kinds of mischief. It's been a while since we did that. Greetings, one and all, and welcome to Seven Kinds of Mischief here on Mornings of Mischief. I'm your host, Stone Loki. Good evening, everyone. Good morning for some of you. Good afternoon for the others. How's everybody doing? Good to see you. Lady Miss, the Guardian of the Void, is here. It is so good to see you. Lady Miss, Claude Sailing is here. Chris Persia, the Wrench of Wrenches. Marcus Felix Skull, brother. How are you doing? The Rooster Day Bob is here. Claude, what is up, Claude? It is good to see you. Cotton Ministries pulling in, going, hey, what is up, brother? Good to see you, Psychodorf 9. What is up, brother? Real Wade Nation Gaming Clips is here. Good evening, Real Wade. How's it going, brother? Snorter Poops Cuber, my favorite polar bear on YouTube. The lovely Sherry is here. Good evening, Sherry. It is so good to see you all here. Did I miss it? FKHC 2005 is here. What is up, brother? It is good to see everybody. Welcome back to Seven Kinds of Mischief. We don't do these as regularly as we used to, but hopefully we can bring you some info tonight. First, I would like to welcome my co-host, the one, the only, the Mad Doctor, Adega Outlaw. How are you doing, brother?
Not so mad today. I'm actually pretty happy the way things have been going. You know, I think probably one of the biggest things that made me kind of excited, I don't know if you guys caught this this morning, the announcement that the 250th anniversary of the United States, there's going to be a big party in this nation. My word, I think more than anything, this country really needs that kind of healing. For those of you who are in the U.S., it's going to be one heck of a party. So I'm looking forward to that. That sounds, it really got me excited.
World Spare is back.
Yes.
I like it. I mean, I remember the bicentennial. I was 9 years old. It was a great time. I wish I still had the T-shirt my dad bought for me.
Yeah, we got to paint all the fire hydrants in our neighborhood.
Yeah. It was a good time. I mean, granted, my dad did pass away that year, but up until that point, pretty good time.
That's pretty early. Wow. I'm sorry.
And I'd like to welcome our guest, our special guest for this evening, Dean Krantz. How are you doing, brother?
I am doing very well. It's nice to be here. I see a few names out in the chat. Snort, good to see you, my friend. Dave Bob, I still envy your reloading setup. I'm going to come out there and snatch a few pieces. Other than that, yeah.
I still have to learn from you, gentlemen.
Adega, do you want me to share the link you sent me?
No, not yet. We could save that for later. Basically, with and this is why I brought this up with you, and I wanted to find a good day I knew you have been under the weather, and I haven't been exactly on my feet very well, but it seemed like today would be a good day, and with the recent hurricanes, the disasters that have been going on, sometimes things, you need them a lot sooner than what you would think. And some of these people, I'm sure you heard the stories where they were out without food, without water. And some people didn't pull through because they were away from supplies for too long. And we did this a few years. I don't remember if you were with us in Valhalla at that time, Dean. But,
yeah, I made
when Loki and I went through it before.
Yeah, I made a few comments, not as many as I do now.
I'm brain dead, so you got to forgive me. Sometimes
no problem. I mean,
but
I think it all blurs together.
Yes, it does. And the older you get, the more you're like, "What? It was that long ago?"
Yes.
Yeah, exactly. So I wanted to go through it again.
Sorry.
No, I'm probably lagging. I keep interrupting you guys. You need to be able to have some type of electrical device that can shock me through my computer and say, shut up.
No, we would never do that. We might do that to somebody else that you and I used to know, but not you.
But see, the thing is, it would be kind of fun on my end. You guys have heard of Knott's Berry Farm in California, and way back when
I used to go. I used to go.
Well, then you might
it's
remember when it
actually
was.
my favorite place out there.
Yeah, you might remember when it was really small and they still sold jams and jellies, and they had a little arcade there. It was basically a penny arcade, and they had that shock machine. And my buddies and I, we had put in the dime and stick our hands on that thing and go for it to go the whole thing. I'm into that kind of stuff. Call me weird. Maybe that's when my brain doesn't work right.
It works well enough. That's all you need.
I can get
obviously well enough to write multiple novels.
Yes. One of my sayings that I like to parse out occasionally is "Don't let perfect destroy good," and that's kind of the way I approach everything anymore. Because if I wait for everything to line up perfectly, I'm never going to get stuff done.
Yeah.
There you go.
I love that. Don't wait. Don't. Yeah. That's great. Don't let perfect good. Yeah. I like that.
Well,
I wish I'd have known that like 5 years ago.
I wish I'd known that when I was 20.
True. That too. Adega.
I just like living dangerously. I don't care.
Well, that's why you don't wait for perfect. Anyway.
Well, that's also why I don't turn the power off when I do I told you I like getting electrocuted. And I think for the first time in my life, I did electrical work in the house a few months back, putting a light in the basement. I swapping out a small bulb and put in a fluorescent. And I learned what the black wire was for. Well, no, the red wire. Is it the red wire? The red wire. It's whatever it is, the through wire where your power goes beyond the light onto another fixture. And I thought I had it wired right. And I hit my elbow against the ventilation for the furnace, and it threw me. So I decided, you know what? Maybe this time I'm actually going to turn the power off.
My grandfather was an electrician, and he would remove the grounding mat from his workbench when he started teaching us about being, electronics. And so, he's like, go ahead and grab that for me. From that point on, you learn to respect electricity.
I had to learn about fire the hard way.
I joined the Marines. Everything's done the hard way.
Soul Assassin says, "Hey Loki, you're from Texas like me. Have you ever heard of a place called the Apple Country Fair?" No, I've heard of the Strawberry Festival and the Scarborough Fair, but I've never heard of the Apple Country Fair. I have to look it up. What is the Apple Country Fair?
While you're looking that up, what I want to do is pick Dean's brain, because you heard Loki and I before with I had forgotten, but Dean was in the audience or in the chat at the time giving us some suggestions. But I wanted to go through, because like I said, with all the natural disasters, it would be best to know where to put things and what to put in them in case of an emergency, so you and your family members would be reasonably safe until you could find a better place to be or get help or what have you. So, take it away.
For me, I'm kind of caught off on the wrong foot, because I was making a survival kit for if you're traveling and you need to do shelter. But as far as what I do as far as having food for a future disaster, what I also try to do is have about 60 pounds of propane. That way I can power my barbecue if I need to. If the gas goes out in town, 60 pounds of propane will, cook food for quite a while. It'll also help to sterilize water. The other things I do, it sounds crazy, but you ever see those 13 bean soup packets at the store? I've got probably a caseload of those because beans have a shelf life that will probably outlast me, and they are a great source of protein.
It's also the
So,
fruit that makes you too. So
yes, it will do that as well. But a natural protein. I mean, honestly, I'm not eating a lot of carbohydrates right now, but I still have them on hand. Other things are my parents were big believers in going to civil defense stores and buying things like a 20-pound tin of flour. I have a 20-pound tin of flour. The other thing I have that Loki was mentioning was he says he doesn't, he needs a source of water. I live in Michigan. There, anywhere you are in Michigan, you're within about a half mile to 3/4 of a mile of some type of water source. So I don't need to stockpile that. What I do have is a Life Straw 5,000 gallon filter that I can hang up, and it will, hold 5 gallons of water. So I'm able to keep that, which is more than enough for a family. And 5,000 gallons, it's tough to go through that much. I mean, unless you got 30 people, you aren't going to go through that in a quick time. Let's see, what other things do I keep on hand? I mean, that's about it. I do have some, I've got several packets of, powdered eggs, in the Marines. Everybody heard about the green eggs and spam for breakfast, and
SOS, shit on a shingle.
no, that's a whole different thing. That's a World War II thing. And the
Oh
Marines
no, no,
never
no!
got
I'm
that.
I'm just saying shit on a shingle. You
Yeah.
made me think of shit on a shingle.
Oh,
Yeah,
absolutely. But anybody who's been in the military and in the last 40 years can tell you about green eggs for breakfast. It's just when you're in the field, I don't know what they do, but every scrambled egg you see has a green tinge to it. But it's not because they're bad. It's just the cooks don't know how to do it correctly. Anyway. But yeah, powdered eggs. These are all things with a very long shelf life. I'm not one of those guys who goes for the MREs. MREs, after they have a 5-year shelf life, but if you want them to last longer than that, if you want them to last the 5 years, you got to put them in some type of refrigerated environment. So I'm not a big fan of those. I mean,
neither am I. I don't a lot of the stuff that's in there isn't like. But I remember in my teens, my dad got me one.
yeah.
And it was not bad. It was not bad. So when I was like, oh man, I'll get me some MREs, and I got a small little box of variety pack. I was like, this is shit. This is not what I got back in the day.
Well, it depends which country you get it from too.
It's also, if you get the American MREs, well over a third of it is crap you're not going to need. There are, oh God, salt and sugar packets, things like that. All, it's designed for, a unit that's got a logistics train in the field, but there are better ways to do it than that. And there are several channels, blogs, which will show you where you can go to make your own MREs, and it's going to cost you pennies on the dollar compared to buying something that says military grade. It's, I mean, heck, I'll take a case of ramen over a case of MREs.
Right there with you.
Yeah.
I'm right there with you. You can get some good meals. You don't have to have like anything, but you heat up the water. Don't even leave the water in there. Take the water out. Don't put the package in there. Wait until after you're done cooking. Drain it. Throw it in a bowl. Throw that seasoning on top. Stir it up and go to town.
Yeah.
Good stuff.
The other thing I was mentioning when we were backstage is, tuna fish. Tuna fish with oil. Great it's going to serve two purposes. because the oil, if you're at home, you drain it out. If you're in the woods and you need to start a fire, you take that oil, you put it on your tinder, and it's gonna light. It's pretty good. Also, if you got pets, you can give them the tuna oil to help supplement their diet as well. I don't eat a lot of tuna, but I do have several cases of it sitting, and it's got a long shelf life.
Something that people don't think about too, it kind of goes along with tuna, but it's a bigger case. So if you got a bigger group, is, believe it or not, those canned hams have a shelf life of 25 years or more.
Oh yeah, I mean, Spam. That
Yeah.
stuff.
Yeah. Guys, get a skillet, throw that Spam in that skillet, get it all crispy and crunchy.
Well, it makes
Burn it.
it makes the green eggs a little more palatable. Yes, sardines are also great. Sardines and olive oil, very good source of protein. A lot of people don't like sardines. I grew up with a mother who's of Italian descent. Sardines were always around.
And my parents were great as Jen and went through the Depression. And my dad, when I go to work with them, it was Kippard snacks. You guys probably heard of those?
Yep.
Basically sardines and oil, or sometimes they were in tomato juice, or they had different ones. But yeah, if you can tolerate them, then yeah, the great
that snort.
One of those will last you a while.
Yeah, the lerp rations, I've had those. When it came to MREs, we used to do what we called field stripping. We'd open up the packets of MREs before we'd go to the field, and we'd take out everything that we were going to eat and leave everything that was just junk. And normally you wound up with 2 or 3 things, and it took up a lot less space in your Alice pack. And when you're a radio operator, you really need space, because I would carry the radio, the cryptographic gear, the batteries to go along with it, plus the food I'm taking. At the end of it, I had room for a pair of socks. So yeah, and that's the other thing I want to tell you guys. If you're building something as a bug out bag, there's a great line that the grunts will tell you. It's like ounces equal pounds, pounds equal pain. So when you're thinking about a bug out bag, realize that if you got to put it on your back, it's going to get way heavier before it gets lighter.
Yep.
Well,
so all the little extras you want to take with you, make sure you whittle that down and be like, I can live without that. I can live without that. Any industrial strength hair dryers have to go.
Again, it's all a matter of common sense. But I always tell people, all right, I give my nieces, got a great niece and nephew, their twins will be 14 coming up in January, and I'm making this survival bag that I was telling you about. I'm making the first of 2, and what I tell them is go out and play with it. I don't say practice with it. I say play with it, because people want to play. They don't want to practice, especially when you're a teenager.
Right. Okay. So you're going to have a closet, and you're going to have a bag there, or you're going to have it in your car, or you have it up in a tree away from bears or whatever, wherever you're at, whatever the different situation is. What are the top main 3 things that you would have in the bag? When you assemble it, these are the 3 most important things that you put in your bag.
First, knife.
I'm going to blow you up here.
All right. This is a $12 knife from a company called Mora Knife. It is the best piece of cutlery I've ever found. And like I said, you can the store I got it from, you can buy them for $12 a piece or 2 for $20. This is one of the best field craft knives I've ever seen. It will baton a piece of wood. It will whittle a fire stick. It can chop a tree, down a log. It can fillet a fish. It can skin it. It can help you gut a deer. It is a good piece of kit. And when you're putting things together, some people are like, oh, I can't afford this. It's a $12 knife and it does everything you want. It's great. The next thing I start with, I start with things that can go on your belt or in your bag, right? So once I pull that bag out, I can put that knife on my belt and it frees up some space. These are going to be the next two items. And they are, if they're good to have, but you can drop them if you don't want them. A saw. This is a $5 item. You can get it at Harbor Freight. You can pick it up at any sporting goods store. And if it's more than $5, you can get it cheaper somewhere else. And again, it will cut you. If you need to make a splint, you can cut that a stick down to size. You can use it to help you do anything that you don't think you can do with the knife. The other optional item is this, a hand axe, right? Why do I have a hand axe? Because sometimes a knife or a saw isn't going to do it. You need to pound a steak. You need to do anything like that. An axe will help out. There are some people I know that axe is number one. I just use it. I put it in the top 3. And again, any of the, knife must have, saw, right, axe, those are your choices. I put all 3 in the bag and operate from there. And then I start building around those 3 items. Depending on the time of year, I will have in my car a sleeping bag if it's winter time and a winter jacket. If it's spring or summer, I will have this. It is a poncho liner, or for some of you younger guys that are veterans, a whoopee. It is quite possibly the ultimate tool to make a grunt's life easier because it fits inside your poncho, and between those two things, you can make what is called the Recon sleeping bag. It will keep you dry. It will keep you warm. It's made of nylon, so if it gets wet, it dries quickly and it wicks the moisture away from you. And that's the big thing. Survival sucks if you're out on your own, but some things can make it a little less sucky. And that's what you got to look for. And one of the things that makes being outside horrible, being cold and wet.
Very true.
Yeah.
When we presented these things a couple years ago, well, maybe it was just a year ago, Loki and I were sitting here talking and others helping in chat about, hardcore survival stuff. And the original premise was, just something that you can grab and go to, where you can go to another town or what have you. And with the recent events that happened in Tennessee, you could see these people couldn't go anywhere. So stuff like you're describing here, if you can get to it, would be invaluable.
Oh, absolutely. And the other thing is, again, a $3 to $5 item is a tarp.
Right.
Okay, a tarp. You can build an improvised shelter with it, or you can wrap yourself up in it. You can use it to help somebody keep warm, or if you got somebody in your party who's hurt, this is the basis for a stretcher.
Really quick, Scott Westbrook was a $5 super sticker, and it is a super sticker of a pear, and he is working out, saying, keep it up, keep it up, keep it up, keep it up, left, right, left. Thank you so very much, Scott Westbrook, for your $5 super sticker, brother. You guys keep the fires burning bright here in Valhalla, and this one, Scott, is just for you. Skull!
A dollar? I've never seen a dollar. Nobody's got a dollar. Let us see the dollar. There it is. It's beautiful. Take your hat off, boy. That's a dollar bill.
It ain't never going away.
Good.
I've got the next 2 items that I consider absolutely indispensable if you've got to go out on foot. These This is a pair of base layer socks. When I was with an infantry unit, these looked like nylons, right? You put those down, and I say use these because they're nylon, they're made of nylon. They wick the moisture away from your feet. And when you're wearing socks, one of the problems that happens, especially if you're wearing cotton socks, is once they start drying out, they turn abrasive. Mm-hmm. And one of the worst things that can happen to you, or in my opinion, number one, other than getting wounded, is if your feet are tore up. This is going to give you that layer of protection between your feet and the inside of your shoes so that you don't blister up. The next thing on top of that is, you can't really see it, but these are wool socks. Why do I say get wool socks? Because wool can get wet and it will still remain warm, and it will, even while wet, it will keep that moisture away from your skin, and your feet will be as dry as possible. The other thing about wool socks is in a pinch, if you've got 2 or 3 pair, which I always recommend at least 2 pair of wool socks. If you're cold, you have no gloves, you put on the mittens, and there you go. You've got something to cover your hands. Your extremities in cold weather are going to shut down first. So if you keep your fingers warm, then you don't get frostbite and you don't wind up losing digits. It's just that simple.
And you don't want to lose any digits or any toes. Definitely not. No digits, no toes. And your toes will fall off. God help you.
Yeah. And again, Harbor Freight Buy is stakes. These are metal, which is nice. You can put them in the ground. You can put them in a tree, whatever you need to do to help you build a shelter. In a pinch, if you get a rabbit or something like that, if you've been out there for a while, you can use one of these to hang it up and let it dry, drip dry while you're skinning it. Oh gosh, what else have I got?
Just as a cautionary note, and I don't think they do it so much anymore, but my survival training started really, really, really early. If you put me out with a pocket knife in most environments, I'll do okay for a while. And it all stemmed from when I was 9 years old. My brother went out on a camping trip. It was in the desert in California, Southern California. You heard of Palm Springs. Well, they have a couple of mountains there. There's San Gorgonio and San Jacinto. And these guys were hiking up San Jacinto in October. So it was a good time of year, except this year.
They get snow up there. Yeah,
and he was wearing a down jacket. Mm-hmm. And it got wet. And my brother didn't come home.
Yeah. Again, you've got to dress for the season, and down jackets, they're light, they're airy, but when down gets wet, it stays wet.
Yep. So when he talks to you about wool, that is, and there's some synthetics that work really good now too that are, if they're wet, they'll keep you warm.
Halofill is a very good substitute, but I have a jacket made in Canada that is halofill, but I still have flannel and wool that I wear underneath of it.
I was fortunate in my life to have a little bit of money. I got some stuff from Norway, Dale. That stuff works really well.
Yep.
Layers is the idea, people. Layers. Unless you get wet, then you start stripping off layers, but all your layers are probably wet. You want to dress in layers if it's super cold. Don't just think, I can just throw on my jacket, go out there and wade into the wilderness.
No, that's no fun. The other thing to keep in mind is in the wintertime here in Michigan, these go into my car with.
Yes, absolutely.
Are those, hold on, let me blow. Are
Boots.
Those galoshes? Boots.
These are, up here in Michigan, we call them snowmobile boots, but these are from a company out of Canada called Baffin, right? These are, they're rated for minus 40 degrees. They aren't going to allow water in. I mean, honestly, during the winter, I'll wear those around the house as house slippers because they're that light and comfortable. They're just, Baffin boots are, as far as I'm concerned, kind of the gold standard. There are, if you're not in the northern plains or the upper Midwest, there's a company out of Georgia called Thorogood. I recommend their 400-gram Thinsulate hunting boots. They are great. They're light. They're trail rated, and they are Gore-Tex treated. And they wick water. I wear them when I go winter hiking, and I've never had cold feet in them.
So, I have to look those up.
Yeah. The big thing is remember base layer, right? You start with your socks and you go up from there. The nylon base layer or silk. Not a lot of people can afford silk, so I say go with nylon. A good pair of nylon socks, $3 to $5, and they're going to save your feet. And again, if you can keep blisters off your feet, you're going to be a happier person.
That's one of the things we try to avoid it, but I keep it in all my emergency medical kits is moleskin.
Yep.
That's one of those things. It doesn't matter what kind of abrasion, but usually if you do have blisters or something on your feet, moleskin's just like slapping on a callus and you don't feel it.
The other thing that I'll give you 3 options. Oil your feet. You can use baby oil. You can use the stuff I use up here. It's called trick. Unfortunately. Hey, a pervert can ruin anything. But you can use baby oil. You can get a small travel canister of baby oil. You oil up your feet. Not only is it going to keep your feet from getting cold, but it'll help break down any calluses as they begin. The other thing I recommend is you can find it at Walmart, is something that my uncle, the dairy farmer, used to have. It's called bag balm. And it's great. It's got antibiotic not capabilities, but you'll understand me. And it helps heal the skin. So if your feet are cracking, you put the bag balm on, and it'll protect your feet for hours, especially in cold weather.
No, it's something that actually a lot of chiropractors have recommended for over the years. That and 5 Star, and there's a few others, but bag balm is a good one.
Yes, it's not bad. Next thing I can suggest, a cheap flashlight. This, I got it for $2 off of Amazon. It said it was like a 500 lumen flashlight. It's nowhere near that. But in a pinch, especially at night, what's the worst thing in the world to feel? Is scared. A light removes that.
And it doesn't weigh like 20 pounds like some of the old mag lights did.
Yes.
If you carry that around all night.
The other thing is you can get headlamps. They've come down in price. Harbor Freight sells them for, I believe, $5, $6. And I start at Harbor Freight, buy the cheap stuff, and then build from there. There are a lot of things you can tick off your list at Harbor Freight that will save you an immense amount of money. The other thing, if any of you live in Amish country or somewhere there's somebody that does woodworking, get yourself one of these, a walking stick. This is made of pine. Yeah, this is pine. I've gone ahead and hit it with linseed oil, things like that. It's about a $10 purchase. It doubles. Well, you can use it as part of building a litter, or you can use it with that tarp to help you build a shelter. It's always, always nice to have. And if you throw it in your car, it's there all the time. Other things, have yourself a good basic first aid kit. And this is where my mantra of don't let perfect get in the way of good, right? Everybody's out there, well, I got to have a tourniquet. I got to have a pressure dressing. Get a first aid kit.
Burn ointment. Got to have burn ointment.
Yeah. Just get the first aid kit, put it in there. And then as you figure out, I've got the money, I can add those things. But you need the first aid kit, and you can build on it from there. Everything I've listed is a good base, but first aid kit, a definite must, and just have it with you.
If you're building your own, the things I would recommend, the things that get used up the most: gauze, surgical tape, and some type of surgical scissors. After that, you would look for something that could sterilize. Cheapest way to do it would be some type of alcohol. You can even use drinking alcohol. Vodka works really good. Those type of things, if you put them in little vials or what have you. Or there are good kits that are pretty cheap. So, but the most important thing is make sure they have some type of gauze, because you can make with enough pressure, it can be held long enough to stop the bleeding and be absorbent. The tape you're always going to need, and again, something to sterilize. Even if it's painful to a person, it's not like hydrogen peroxide or something. Sterilization of whatever open wound there is probably going to save more lives than anything.
Shoot. I have paracord Psychodwarf. I was trying to find it to show you. Yeah.
Shoelaces work good.
Shoelaces work good, but the nice thing about paracord is if your shoelace busts, paracord can become the new shoelace.
There you go.
So, yeah, I always make sure paracord is in a kit. Thanks for pointing it out, Psychodwarf 9. I appreciate you reminding me I have it. And another thing, nice to have duct tape. In the military, they call it 100-mile-an-hour tape, because you can use it for everything. As an old radio operator, I can waterproof pretty much anything using plastic and duct tape. Well, trash bag and duct tape.
There you go.
Second representative says, Loki, do you want my ENT kit? You can tell us what's in it. Let us know what's in it. What you got in it.
Yeah, we're running.
Don't laugh, but several boxes of lady pads are great for bandages, and they're cheap. Yeah,
it's true.
And here's that headlamp I was telling you about earlier. These things, again, couple bucks at Harbor Freight, and they just, they'll stay good forever.
Those
the light
are LEDs.
Is bright. It's just your normal flashlight bulb. I think it may be LED. I don't know. I just see them. I pick them up. I throw them in gift bags around Christmas time. I've had friends of mine say, that headlamp you gave me came in handy when I was changing the tire. So
before you get out of here, I've got a question I've got to ask. If you have something there, don't show it, because YouTube will go absolutely bonkers about the fact that you showed anything. But I keep a pistol.
I
ready to go.
I have several. My EDC is a Steyr M40A1, which is a pistol. I carry it with me all the time. And I also have within arm's reach here, I have an old coach gun that I use. And then for my, if things were getting froggy this time around now, I have a case with a very nicely put together AR.
All right.
Nice.
Yeah.
But for me, just something I can throw in my bag. If you guys get yourself like just a little old Walter PPK, something small, something you don't have to have a hand cannon in your go bag. Just something small, something that if you're, oh man, I'm surrounded by wolves, and I'm hungry. Pew! Just something that can protect you, and in case you've got to use it to eat, you can have something to eat.
I personally recommend anything from Ruger and 22 caliber. 22. You can't go wrong.
Yep.
I mean, it's like you aren't going to take down a grizzly bear with a 22, but you'd be amazed at the wide variety of game that you will come around that a 22 caliber can take care of.
Yep. Rabbits, squirrels, small birds, even some big birds. You'll have food with the 22.
And the rabbits are not bad eating. I want to tell you something. Especially when you're really hungry.
Every Thursday in the Marine Corps was fried rabbit at the chow hall.
So. I mean, don't eat puppy. I'm just saying, just in case.
No, puppies are the last thing on the list. I'll go with human before I go with puppy.
Yeah,
there you go.
Dogs are far more valuable being with you than in you.
Yeah, and just remember this: it's like when you're in the woods and you're there, and somebody is telling you they'd choose the bear over you. That 22 helps. You shoot them in the thigh, and when the bear comes around, you can leave.
Yep.
Hey, Dean, we know you got to run.
Yeah.
Thank you very much.
Oh, no problem.
We came show and tell with knowledge, things that Loki and I didn't cover last time. But it helps reinforce the importance of having these things ready to go.
The other thing that just occurred to me that I am remiss is a small handheld radio, Citizens Band or shortwave. There's a very inexpensive one around the $40 price range from China called the Baofeng. And right now, through the FCC, you can do an online course to get your technician license for shortwave. It's $40. And if you want to go all the way up to the highest level, as long as you take the test, as long as you keep passing the test, it's a $40 one-time fee, and you can get all the way up there. So
they still require Morse code
at the highest level, but for technician, no, it does not. So I would suggest that, and then learn how to use the radio properly.
All right.
Okay, guys, I got a motor.
Yeah, no,
Dean, thank you.
Oh, no problem.
Thank you very much, man. You have a good one. Have a good night.
Okay. I appreciate the invite, and maybe we can do this in the morning sometime.
Absolutely. Again. Absolutely. Thank you, Dean.
All right. Bye-bye.
Have a great one, brother.
See ya.
Lady Miss says, I have an emergency radio that doesn't take batteries. It winds up.
I used to have a few of those. I think I still have one, but it doesn't do any good if you can't find it. So,
and don't get any sand near it. No sand, because those grains ruin the charger.
Right. Well, this had one side was solar, the other one was a hand crank, so it'd work either way. And it had batteries, but I can't remember what I did with them. It was back at Y2K when everyone thought things were going to go haywire, so I got that. I had manual pumps for gas stations if they went down and you needed to siphon gas, all that fun stuff.
Yeah, the gas thing's interesting. Don't ever do that. You think, I'll just I'll never do that. Very bad. You don't want to do that.
That's why I had a pump for it.
It would be bad. It would be the worst thing. We would not be winning. Anyway. Guys, we're going to get out of here. Thank you so very much for hanging out with me and Adega tonight on 7 Kinds of Mischief. Thanks again. Huge thank you to Dean for taking the time to come here and spending his time with us, showing what he's got, giving advice. Seriously, thank you very much. You will swallow a bit, and you do not want to throw that up because it is nasty stuff. Trust me. All right, we're going to get out of here, guys. Take care. Be excellent to each other. Always speak friend enter. And we'll see you in the morning on the weekend review here on Mornings of Mischief. Have a great one.
Have a good one.
These videos are tremendous. Like, comment, and subscribe, and hammer that notification bell.